What's up, gaggers? Today I'm going to cover a large streamer known as Jynxzi. Now, if you watch Rainbow Six Siege gameplay, just watch gaming content in general, or just happen to watch mainstream streamers and their best moments and clips, you've likely seen Jynxzi from when he rages at R6.
Jeez. Who's your daddy? 7-1. Maybe next time, buddy.
Ooh, I'm about to crash out! Ooh, I'm about to crash out!
Clips where he unboxes stuff his fans send him.
Cut it out!
Perhaps clips from his collabs with other streamers.
Dad, I got a fan over there.
That was pure.
You know, we got two predators out
Don't worry,
here.
brother.
We have alligators and we have guys like Jynxzi. I'm just kidding.
Or maybe you've seen clips, videos, or streams where the content is focused on his interactions with women.
Do it clap?
Did you just ask me to do it clap?
Or no, my bad. Do
Did
you
you just ask me to do it clap?
do it be farting?
I don't.
Mission failed. We'll get him next time.
If I were to ask you to fart on me, like how would you feel about that? I made you giggle, I
Bang.
can make it jiggle. All right, I'm done. Next, come on.
Now, as you could probably tell by the title and thumbnail of this video, my focus for this video is Jynxzi and the content he creates with regard to women. However, I want to specify that the clips I recently played are not actually the clips or content I have a major disagreement with. Sure, some people, maybe including you watching and certainly myself, could look at those clips and think, that's really gross, he shouldn't talk that way to women, or making that type of content is degrading and objectifying. And obviously, if you feel this way, that's totally valid. And if not, then that still isn't my primary concern, at least for this video, and I'll explain why. For starters, his awkwardness and stumbling around conversation in those clips is what makes it funny to those who think of it as such. He's the butt of the joke. It's self-deprecating, which makes it humorous to his audience. Another thing that's important is that the women in those streams and videos know, at least to some extent, what they're in for. He's an entertainer, they're coming on his stream, it's okay because both parties know what game is being played. So, that all aside, what's my main issue? Well, it's that Jynxzi doxes women in specific content he does, specifically related to dating app content. He blasts their information in front of his audience, where he and his audience then judge the unknowing women, and through the previous 2 points I mentioned, he puts those aforementioned women in harm's way, more so electronically or emotionally, but still has the potential to go further. That was long-winded, but let me explain. In streams that had tens of thousands of live viewers, and segments of those streams that have garnered millions of views, Jynxzi has made content where he goes on dating apps and goes through various women's dating profiles, as well as his chats with them, assuming they matched. Now, maybe on its face you may see nothing wrong with this. Maybe you've seen a dating profile or two where you screenshotted it and sent it to your buds, maybe you matched, maybe it's just a protection thing. Even that's likely questionable, but realistically on such a small scale, it's not really that big of an issue, if it even is one. If you share that information responsibly and tactfully, then I think most people, even those who are on dating apps, would agree that's totally okay. The problem is, however, that Jynxzi, live to tens of thousands of viewers, will pull up random women's dating profiles and stream them to his massive audience. This poses risks because even if one single person who is watching that stream or video had ill intentions, they could use the already exposed information that was given, or go and get more of the women's information that was shown to then further dox, find, and harass them. Now, just to be clear, I'm of the opinion that content creators are not responsible for their audiences unless they do something intentional like brigading or haphazard like this current situation. It is an impossible standard to maintain that content creators have absolute reign over their audiences. There will always be bad apples. However, if a content creator were to signal to their audience that they should harass someone, then of course, holding the content creator responsible is warranted, at least in my opinion, and you can even see this in something like YouTube's harassment and cyberbullying policies that say pretty much the same thing. But with his dating app streams, he is posing a danger to random women he comes across on those apps because of the nature of those apps and what people post to them. Keep in mind here, we aren't talking public figures scrutinizing other public figures. These are just random women on dating apps. And for those unfamiliar or needing a refresher, it isn't uncommon for people to post their first name, their job title, where they work, which isn't as frequent as job title but does happen, which school, college, or university they go to or have graduated from, their age, approximate location, typically a town or city and then the state, their hometowns or where they're originally from, and of course, most importantly, pictures of themselves. Broadcasting this information alone is bad enough. Dating apps like Tinder and Hinge are not public exactly. To see other people's dating profiles, you must make an account first. Sure, the process is really easy, but these are private dating profiles. It's not like you can just go on Google and find someone's dating profile on there by just searching for it. So by broadcasting this information that is surely considered privately identifiable information, or PII for short, Jynxzi is unquestionably doxing, or publicly revealing that PII to others. But how bad was it? How much has Jynxzi exposed in his dating app streams? Well, I have actually totaled up the amount of times Jynxzi has shown certain private information of women on his streams. To begin, I want to say that I coded the streams and videos using a unrefined code book, so some errors likely occurred, so I'll make up for that in my total shortly. But in my research, I was able to find one publicly available stream that had his Hinge dating app content where he matched and chatted with women, another stream where he briefly messaged women on Hinge, and another occurrence I only have seen a segmented video version of, not a raw live stream. So for a total of 3 occurrences on Jynxzi's dating app content, here are the totals I reached. I'll start with Tinder because it was short-lived in his content. Using Tinder, he revealed 10 first names and accompanying ages, 44 personal pictures, 4 job titles or their career paths, 2 city location data, and finally 2 women's school, college, or universities attended. Just as a note, when I say 44 personal photos, I don't mean 44 different women. These are just aggregate totals of the sum of what Jynxzi showed. At a bare minimum, all you need to know is that the count of first names is how many individual women were shown. The rest of the counts are tallied based off that X amount of women's dating profiles. Going to the Hinge counts, the numbers are actually quite staggering. Through the 2 streams and video I saw, 363 first names were shown, meaning 363 women, 139 ages, 728 photos, 7 last names, 60 career paths or job titles, 15 employers or job sites where they worked, 9 city location data, but it can be assumed a majority were in Florida because that's where Jynxzi publicly states he lives, 66 schools, colleges, or universities attended, and finally, 71 hometowns of the women. Additionally, after removing obvious fakes from the total, 26 personal Instagram accounts of the women he showed on his streams were revealed, and 3 Snapchats. 2 of those, however, were included in the aforementioned 26 because they listed both IG and Snap. But as I mentioned earlier in this video, I'm not perfect and I likely made errors. So here I'm going to display the total counts for Tinder and Hinge, but I'm going to deflate the number artificially by assuming I overcounted each of the subgroups besides IG and Snap. So for the sake of fairness, I'll conservatively estimate I was only 90% accurate and then round down to the nearest 5. I like to think I wasn't this inaccurate, but with me being the only coder, I think it's sufficient to be this conservative. That leaves us with the following totals. First names, he revealed 335, meaning 335 women. Ages, 130. Photos of women, 690. Last names of women, 5. Job titles of those women, 55. Employer or job sites, 10. Current city locations, but most assumed to be in Florida, 5. Schools, colleges, and universities, 60, and hometowns, also 60. Jynxzi has exposed, at the minimum of what I have counted, 335 women's PII. 335 names, all with accompanying pictures, which is more than enough to dig deeper into them by an audience. Some had last names displayed. A supermajority, assumed to be in Florida, had where they worked. Plenty had where they grew up. By virtue of Jynxzi streaming himself going on dating apps, he has revealed all this information on private dating profiles only intended to be accessible on those dating apps to tens of thousands of people live on stream and hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people outside of those streams where he and others uploaded clips and videos from those streams. Now, you may be saying to yourself, well, Gag, it's a bit absurd to post a lot of information like that about yourself willingly to dating apps. But realistically, if you want to date using those apps, you kinda gotta give up some of your privacy to others who are also looking to date using those apps. You kinda gotta say what your first name is or your nickname. You gotta have where you're located because prospective dates need to be able to filter out people across the country or world to see those who are nearby. And you gotta sell yourself to prospective dates. So yeah, you're gonna have information about what you do for work or possibly even where you work or where you went to college. Sure, you can judge the people who use dating apps for sharing too much in the first place, but it is surely the norm with those apps. Another norm is that you should be courteous and not spread information from there far and wide. Tinder has policies in place that aim to stop that. And apps like Hinge, although I couldn't find specifics on broadcasting or sharing profiles far and wide, likely seeks to foster a similar atmosphere on the app. If Hinge knew about this issue, I'm sure they'd agree streamers should not broadcast unknowing people's dating profiles. But why else is this an issue? Well, there's another element to this situation that should be considered here, and that's the implicit and explicit danger that arises from his content, stemming off of doxing, but also just the stream itself. First, the reason why doxing is bad isn't necessarily the act of doing it. In a perfect world, if people posted their addresses and full legal names online, it wouldn't matter because in a perfect world, nothing bad would come from it. It's what bad actors can do with dox information that makes doxing a bad thing. People can go out of their way to berate, harass, or stalk those who are doxed, which makes it much easier because their PII has been made public and easily accessible. But to my knowledge, none of the women who Jynxzi showed in those dating app streams had anything like harassment or stalking happen to them. During one of his streams, a woman Jynxzi was talking to on Hinge said his audience spammed her saying that she should let him hit.
Oh. Chat, you guys sold, bro. Why would y'all do that? Guys, you guys sold.
But that doesn't necessarily show that she was disturbed by it or upset by it. I would still argue, though, that just the possibility of bad things happening to unknowing women who are just looking to date and have no intention of being public figures is bad enough, but I know that to some people, Jynxzi may be in the clear to you because nothing bad actually happened. But after reaching out to some of the women whose information was revealed on stream through their dating apps, one woman shared with me she believes it to be harassment to do such a thing alone, and of course is an invasion of her privacy. So even factoring in that no women have said they've experienced things like stalking or harassment because of these streams, again, to my knowledge, that doesn't mean no harm has already been done, because at a baseline, he has at minimum invaded their privacy. But another element to this beyond the doxing part is the other harm that Jynxzi put these women in front of. His viewership is massive. When he puts a woman's dating profile up on stream, they're going to comment on them. As such, plenty of times when he'd show them, his chat would hypersexualize them or objectify them. And if he and his audience perceived the woman to be unattractive, they'd make fun of them, which was implicitly encouraged by Jynxzi in this clip.
You got a like.
I have a like. I have a like. Oh, hold on.
God.
Shoot, man. Give me a second.
We can't do this no more, bro. You're actually fucked up.
I'm actually gonna get like.
They say rude things, know he's bullying, and are laughing alongside him. Now, if this woman were a public figure, I'd be all for Jynxzi commenting on certain things and his audience doing the same. Look, when I upload videos on YouTube, looking the way I look, I'm going to get wild comments. And if other people watch my content on their stream, I'll get even more wild comments that are not nice.
Listen, Gag, okay? I've been trying to be nice, but lots of people will be calling you fat. I'm just letting you know, okay? Don't take it to heart. My chat can be very mean.
But that's the thing. Public figures and content creators put themselves out there, so they need to be able to accept the good with the bad. But these women he's showing on stream aren't all public figures. They made accounts on dating sites to find romantic and sexual partners, most under the assumption of dating app norms that their profiles wouldn't be blasted to hundreds of thousands of people. These aren't public figures who should expect a major level of scrutiny. These are just normal, everyday women who are just trying to date. But it's not just that scrutiny and mass amounts of rude comments flying their way that's an issue. It's also that very intimate and personal information is being shown beyond just the PII. For example, in a match Jynxzi got, he was chatting with a woman who heavily implied anal sex with him. Now, even assuming she doesn't care that this was publicly shown to many people through Jynxzi's content, the possibility of putting women on dating apps in harm's way with insults hurled at them in chat and the possibility of embarrassment that they say something wild or questionable in a chat on the dating app really should be a major deterrent to those making content online. However, Jynxzi still continued to do it and still plans on continuing to do so, as he said recently on stream.
Chat, I think that would be peak, bro. Like, me and Bernard go on Tinder and we pop a boost and we just literally do whatever he says. Like, whatever he says. It would actually be funny. Tuesday or Wednesday, chat. All right, we'll do that Tuesday or Wednesday.
But don't fall into the trap here. I know Jynxzi looks young and acts foolish on stream, but keep in mind that he is not as stupid as his viral clips would lead you to believe. He is a mastermind at content and knows what works. The character he plays up in streams is goofy, but when he isn't in that stream mindset, he has been shown to have clear judgment and the capability to think things through rationally. Yet, he still chose to get on dating apps and broadcast women's PII to his audience and the whole internet to see beyond Hinge and Tinder. And that's what's detestable with his actions. He put women he found on dating apps in harm's way for the sake of content. Unlike his content where he had women come on stream to chat with him and e-date or whatever, these women did not consent to having their dating profiles shown to thousands of people on a person's live stream, did not consent to be objectified, sexualized, mocked, and ridiculed by that audience, and they did not consent to having so much of their PII broadcasted to thousands, tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people. Jynxzi is not stupid. Even in these streams, he dance around the absurdity of his actions and say he shouldn't or couldn't do certain things because he's a content creator.
Yeah, we shoot half-court shots, twin.
I can't do this. Like, Mingo, I can't.
You might get banned. You might get banned.
I have, like, reputation. I don't even know if I can, like, do this.
But that's the thing. It's my understanding what he's doing by virtue of streaming him on the dating apps is already against the terms of service or guidelines of the websites he streams to. Twitch has policies against doxing, and so does YouTube. It appears Twitch's policy focuses more on malicious doxing, so I guess maybe there could be an argument made that it isn't against TOS, and with YouTube it seems that it's only punishable or against its guidelines if the person whose information was revealed reports the content. Regardless though, at the very least, Jynxzi is in a gray area with this content, whether it be Hinge, Twitch, or YouTube. But just because it's a possibly gray area doesn't mean what he is doing isn't wrong. Jynxzi is unquestionably doxing the women he comes across on dating apps for the tens of thousands of people who watch him live. He puts those women in harm's way by merely broadcasting their dating profiles. You may think in most cases this isn't an issue or that I'm just making a mountain out of a molehill here, but I'd say you need to factor in that these are private, normal people who aren't public figures, thus why him doing this is so egregious. These aren't people playing the game that I am playing or other content creators are playing or other people who upload content on YouTube or the internet. These are just private people using privately accessible apps to date. To that end, Jynxzi must stop doing content using dating apps because of the dangers I've listed throughout this video, as well as the scrutiny he puts women through on those dating apps who just simply don't deserve it because they're just women trying to date. And beyond Jynxzi, really nobody should make content off of dating apps in general. That goes for any and all content creators that have, currently are, or will make content where they peruse dating apps and view other people's dating profiles. The risk to those random people are just too high to justify making that content, so it shouldn't be pursued, even if streaming and video platforms don't outright disallow the content. But let me know what you think about this all in the comments down below. If you like this video, please like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I make gaming videos and commentary videos like this, and I also make other gag slop. including cooking, which will likely be the next video I post. But with that, I just want to say thank you for watching. See ya!